Hi everyone, in this video we'll learn about multithreading in Java. In this video tutorial we'll more focus on practical examples instead of theory. So first we'll quickly have a look into the thread overview. A thread is a lightweight subprocess and it is the smallest unit of processing. Consider the Windows operating system, and if you open the task manager you can see there are multiple processes running. Okay, for example, at the same time if you are using Chrome browser or Microsoft Word or Paint, then there are separate processes running for each of the software in a task manager, and each process can internally have a multiple threads. Let's quickly understand what is a Java thread. A thread is a lightweight subprocess. It is the smallest independent unit of program and contains separate path of execution. For example, let us say if there are multiple threads are running at the same time, and if any exception occur in one thread, it doesn't affect other threads because each thread contains a separate path of execution. Okay, and they are independent each other. Every Java program contains at least one thread. For example, if you write a Java program with a main method, then main method is our main thread. Alright, and you can create a child threads inside a main method that we will see in an example section. Okay, a thread is created and controlled by thread class. Alright, in Java we have two ways to create a threads. The first way is implementing Runnable interface, and second is by extending thread class. And thread class itself internally implements a Runnable interface, so a thread is created and controlled by thread class. Alright, let's understand a little bit more with an example. Consider this is a simple Java program. It has 3 for loops, okay, and each for loop takes 2 seconds for its execution. Okay, and this is the sequential execution. First this for loop will execute and complete its execution, and then only second for loop will start its execution, and once second for loop completes its execution, then only third for loop will start and complete its execution. So this is the sequential execution, and it takes 6 seconds. Okay, the first for loop takes 2 seconds, and second for loop takes 2 seconds, and third for loop takes 2 seconds. So total this program takes 6 seconds to execute. Okay, and to increase the performance of this program or to minimize the time for the execution of this program, what we can do is we can create a separate thread for each for loop. For example, we can create one thread which will execute this for loop, and we'll create one more thread which will execute this for loop, and we'll create one more thread which will execute this for loop. So we can create a threads and we can execute threads simultaneously or concurrently, so that we can minimize the time of execution of this program. In this way we can improve the performance of the Java program. Alright, so this is how we use the thread. So basically we use a thread to increase the performance of the Java program or a Java application. So what are the benefits of threads? So the main purpose of multithreading is to provide a simultaneous execution of 2 or more parts of program to maximum utilize the CPU time. A multi-threaded program contains 2 or more parts that can run concurrently, and each part of the program called thread. Alright, why thread is used in Java? Threads are used in Java to make applications run faster by doing multiple things at the same time. Okay, so there are 2 ways to create a threads in Java. The first way is by implementing Runnable interface, and second way is by extending thread class. So in this video tutorial we'll learn a lot about creating threads by using these 2 ways. Alright, so here are the topics that we will be covering in this video. So first we'll see how to execute a sequential program, and then we'll see how to increase the performance of sequential execution of the program by using threads. So first we'll see how to create a thread by implementing Runnable interface, and we will replace implementation of Runnable interface with a Lambda expression, and then we'll see how to create a thread by extending a thread class, and then finally we will see which is a preferred way to create a thread. There are two ways to create a threads in Java. First way is by implementing Runnable interface, and second way is by extending thread class. So first we will see how to create a new thread by implementing Runnable interface, and then later we will see how to create a new thread by extending thread class. Alright. So look at here, this is the internal implementation of Runnable interface, and Runnable interface is a functional interface. It has only one abstract method, that is run method. Alright, Java 8 introduced functional interfaces and Lambda expressions, right? If you don't know what are Lambda expression and functional interfaces, then you can visit my previous video tutorials where I have explained you all about Lambda expressions and functional interfaces. Alright, just remember, functional interface is an interface which has only one abstract method, and in our case Runnable is a functional interface. It has only one abstract method. So as Runnable interface is a functional interface, we can use a Lambda expression to implement functional interface. Alright, in this video I'm going to also use a Lambda expression to implement Runnable interface. Let's create examples to understand how to create a new thread by implementing Runnable interface. So this is a Java multithreading tutorial project. Inside that there is a multithreading package, and inside this package I'm going to create a class, and I'm going to name this class as thread demo. Alright, so first we'll see without multithreading how the program will looks like and how much time does it take. So inside a main method I'm going to create a for loop, and the length here I'm going to give 10. Now inside that I'm going to print some message or some string like Java programming. Alright, and I'm going to just copy this for loop, and here I'm going to just change to Python programming, and here C programming. Alright, so this is the main method. Inside that we have created 3 for loops. So first for loop will iterate or loop 10 times, and it will print this Java programming string to the console, and second for loop will also iterate 10 times, and this will print Python programming 10 times to the console, and similarly third for loop will iterate 10 times and it will print C program to the console. Alright, now here main method is the main thread. Alright, inside a main thread we can create a child threads, that we will see a bit later. And here this is the sequential execution. Alright, so first for loop will execute, okay, and once the first for loop will complete its execution, then only second for loop will start executing. Alright, and once second for loop completes its execution, then third for loop will start executing. Alright, this is the sequential execution. Now if we run this program, it doesn't take much time, okay, and it will first print Java programming 10 times, and later it will print Python programming 10 times, and then later it will print C programming 10 times. Let's use thread.slip method to force execution of this for loop. Here I'm going to use thread.slip method. I'm going to give 200 milliseconds. So let me run the program again, and let's see here. So for this program will take 6 seconds to execute. Alright, now how we can use a multi-threading or by creating threads to reduce the time. Alright, so we can create a threads and we can run the threads simultaneously. So this is now the sequential execution, right? Once first for loop will complete its execution, then only second for loop will start, and once second for loop will complete its execution, then only third for loop will start its execution. So this is the sequential execution. Now we want to run these for loops simultaneously. So for that we are going to create a threads, and we can run threads simultaneously. Now let's create threads to achieve this task. Alright, so for that let's create a class and let's name it as Java thread. So this will implement runnable interface, and runnable interface provides a run method. So here we are going to just implement runnable interface, and we are going to execute this for loop here inside a run method. Alright, so sleep method will throw in interrupted exception, so let's give a try catch block for it. So we have nothing changed here, we have just kept try catch block. Alright, so this is called a job of the thread. Alright, now what we'll do, we'll create one more thread and we just call it as Python thread, and this will implement a runnable interface, and here just implement run method, and here just copy this for loop, and this we need to execute inside a Python thread class. Similarly, let's go ahead and let's create one more class, and let's call it as C thread. This will implement a runnable interface, and let's quickly implement run method, and from the thread demo just copy this, cut and paste here inside a run method. Alright, now we have 3 threads. Now let's go ahead and let's create an object of the threads and start the threads. So here what we need to do is we need to create object of the thread. So I'm going to use an interface reference here, equal to new, create a Java thread first, and here we are going to create the object of the thread first, and thread call class requires a runnable interface object, so look at here. Okay, so here we pass object of Java thread to the constructor of thread class. Okay, and here just we're gonna start thread. Okay, so once we use a start method to start the thread, this will internally call a run method of Java thread. Okay, great. So don't call run method directly. Okay, so always remember you should call start method to start the thread, and it internally call the run method. You no need to explicitly call the run method. Alright, so this is how we create an instance of a thread and we start the thread. So this we can make even more shorter. What we can do here is we can just pass this object, and here we can just call the start method. So in a single line we can do like this. Okay, so let me just copy this and create a second thread. Second thread is Python thread, and third thread is C thread. Alright, now we have created 3 threads, and now we can run the program, and we can see these 3 threads are running simultaneously, or these 3 threads are running at the same time. Okay, so there is a main thread. Inside a main thread, these are the child threads. Alright, so total here we have 4 threads. So remember, we have a main thread. Inside a main thread, here are the 3 child threads. So total we have 4 threads. Now let's go ahead and let's run the Java program. So look at here the result. The statements are overlapping on each other. It means that the threads are running concurrently. Now let's add a name to the thread and let us distinguish this result. Alright, I'm going to give a name to the Java thread as Java thread. Alright, similarly give name to the Python thread. Alright, and similarly give name to the C programming thread. So this is how we can add a name to the thread. So in a constructor of thread class, we are just giving a name to the thread. And here what I will do, I will just I want to just print a thread name here, starting thread, and here at the end I will give like completed thread. Okay, and similarly I will provide this statement to other threads. And let's provide this statement at the end of the statements. Alright, save it. Now let's go ahead and let's run the program. Starting thread Java thread, and starting thread Python, and starting thread C thread, and this is the completed thread. Alright, so all the three threads are executing concurrently or at the same time. So this is how we can achieve a multi-threading, and by implementing multi-threading we can reduce time or we can increase the performance. So this is how we use a runnable interface to create a new threads. We have seen how to create a new thread by implementing runnable interface, and we have written a lot of code to implement runnable interface and to create threads. Alright, so basically we have created 3 threads and we have executed all these three threads at the same time. And in this lesson I want to show you how to use Lambda expression to reduce code, and we can use Lambda expression to implement runnable interface, and we can make this code even more shorter by using Lambda expression. So this is Java thread which implements runnable interface, and runnable interface is a functional interface, and we can use Lambda expression to implement this runnable interface. So let me replace this implementation with Lambda expression. So look at here, Java thread class which implements runnable interface, and here run method is overridden, and this provided the implementation for run method. So what we are going to do here is we just use a Lambda expression instead of this whole code. Okay, now let me just copy this code, and we are going to execute this code within a Lambda expression. So let me show you how to do that. So here we are going to replace this, and we are going to use Lambda expression. So look at here how I am doing. So I am just using Lambda expression here. So this is the open and curly braces, and inside that I am going to just paste this code. That's it. It's just very simple, right? So what I have done, I have used a Lambda expression syntax, and I'm just copied this code from the run method. I am just pasted here inside open and curly braces, and this is the thread name, and here we use start method to start the thread. It's pretty simple, right? So similarly for Python thread, I am just going to copy this code from the run method, and I am going to use a Lambda expression here. I am going to replace this existing implementation, and I am going to use Lambda syntax like this, open brace curly braces, and inside that I am going to just paste this code. Very simple, right? So this is how we use Lambda expression to implement runnable interface. Now similarly let's do it for C thread. So let me copy this code and go to the thread demo, and here we are going to replace this with the Lambda expression. So look at here, this is the Lambda expression syntax, open braces curly braces. Within that we are going to just paste this code. It's very simple, right? So if you don't know how to create and use Lambda expression, then you can visit my previous video tutorials where I have shown you how to create Lambda expression and how to implement functional interfaces by using Lambda expressions. Alright, so this is how we use Lambda expression to implement a runnable interface. Now we can delete these three classes. Alright, we no more require these three classes because we already provided implementation for runnable interface, and we have passed this Lambda expression to the constructor of thread class. Alright, so this is the thread class, and here we are passing implementation of runnable interface by using Lambda expression, and this is the thread name, and we have started the thread. Alright, so notice here we have total 4 threads. So main is the main thread, and here are the 3 child threads. Okay, so let me run the program and let us see the output. So look at here, all the 3 threads are running concurrently, or all the 3 threads are running at the same time. Okay, that's why the statements are overlapping on each other. So this is how we basically use Lambda expression to implement runnable interface. I'm gonna show you how to create a new thread by extending thread class, and yeah, so I'm going to use existing example. So here this is the Java thread which implements runnable interface. So instead of implementing runnable interface, I'm going to extend here a thread class. So let me give you a little bit overview of thread class. So if you look at the internal implementation of thread class, so thread class itself implements runnable interface. Okay, and it provides a lot of methods to give a name to the thread, to set the priority, and to pause the execution of thread by using sleep method, and we can get a name of the thread by using current thread. Alright, it provides a lot of APIs, and in this lesson I am going to show you how we can efficiently use a thread class to create a new thread. Okay, now thread class itself internally implements a runnable interface. So here we just override the run method and we provide our own implementation. So what we are doing here is we are just using for loop to print this Java programming text 10 times to the console, and here we are using thread.sleep method to pause the execution of for loop 200 milliseconds. Okay, and here we are getting the name of the thread at the start of the method and at the end of the method. Alright, and similarly in a Python thread, just replace implementation of runnable interface with just we need to extend a thread class. So thread class implements internally runnable interface. So here we just override the run method and we can keep this code as it is, and here I am going to just replace this code with I'm going to just extend thread class. Okay, it's pretty simple, and here I am going to replace all this code. Okay, now we have created 3 threads: Python thread, Java thread, C thread. Now let's go ahead and let's create an object of the thread. So look at here, we have a main thread here. So execution starts from the main method. So this is the main thread, and JVM is responsible to start the main thread here. So we can get a name of this main thread by just calling current thread method. So I am going to just print here main thread name like this, and we can get a main current thread name like this. Call get name method, and if I run this program, this will print main thread name. Okay, by default the main thread name is main. Alright, now let's go ahead and let's create an instance of thread. So I am going to create a thread instance here. So let us first create a Java thread and just call a start method to start the thread. So let's go ahead and let's run the program, and this will just execute a Java thread. Okay, this is the start of the thread and this is the complete thread. So if you don't give a name to the thread, then by default this is the name of the thread 0, thread 0. Okay, let's go ahead and let's give a name to the thread thread dot call the set name method to give a name to the thread. So I am going to give as Java thread. Alright, and let's go ahead and let's run the program and look at here. The name of the thread is Java thread. Okay, so similarly let's create other threads. Call Python thread. Okay, and here we are going to give a name to the thread. Call set name API and give a name as Python thread, and just call a start method. That's it. Great. Similarly, let's do it for C thread. Okay, and just this is the C thread, and just give name here C thread dot set name. I am going to give a name as C thread and just call a start method. That's it. Pretty simple, right? So this thread implements a run method, right? So you don't call run method directly. You should call start method in order to start the thread. Okay, so internally JVM will call run method. Okay, so you no need to explicitly call the run method of the thread. You have to call a start method to start the thread. So in this point the thread is not started yet. Once you call the start method, then thread will be started. Now look at here, we have 4 threads. So this is the main thread. Internally it has 3 child threads. Okay, Java thread, Python thread and C thread. So remember, we have 4 threads. So this is the main thread, and a main thread internally has 3 child threads. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's run the program. So look at here the output. So all the 3 threads are running simultaneously or concurrently. That's why the statements are overlapping on each other. So this is how we basically create a thread by extending thread and achieve a multi-threading. Okay, this is how we can use a thread multi-threading to achieve task in a less time. So just remember these terminologies. The run method contains this code, right? So this is called a job of the thread. Once we start the thread, then internally it will call the run method and it will execute this job. And similarly in a Python thread, once you start the Python thread like this by calling start method, so this will internally call a run method and this will execute this job. Okay, it's pretty simple. So far we have seen 2 different ways to create a new thread in Java. First way is creating a new thread by implementing a Runnable interface, and second way is by creating a thread by extending a thread class. Now the question is, which one should I use? Alright, which one should I prefer to create a new thread? Whether I need to create a thread by implementing a Runnable interface, or I need to create a thread by extending a thread class. So this is the question, also confusing for Java beginners. So let me answer this question. So look at here, this is how we create a new thread by extending a thread, right? And if you consider inheritance, we can extend only one class. We cannot extend multiple classes, right? Because Java does not support multiple inheritance. At the same time, we can extend only one class like this. But in case of interfaces, a class can implement multiple interfaces. For example, in case of Runnable interface, a class which implements the Runnable interface can also extend other class, and it can provide implementation for this class, right? And this is how basically we can take advantage of implementing Runnable interface, and we can also implement multiple interfaces, or we can also extend other classes like this. But I personally prepare to create a new thread by implementing a Runnable interface, because Runnable interface is a functional interface, and we can use a Lambda expression to implement a Runnable interface. For example, so look at here. So this is how we use a Lambda expression to implement a Runnable interface, and we can pass this Lambda expression implementation to the thread class constructor like this. So in this way we can introduce a functional programming technique, as well as we can make our code more concise and flexible and maintainable. So I personally recommend you guys to use this approach, creating a new thread by implementing a Runnable interface, because you will have an advantage of using Java Lambda expression, and this is where we make our programming as a functional programming, and we can pass this Lambda expression to the method argument or to the thread class constructor. So this makes us a functional programming. Alright, let me summarize what we have learned in this video tutorial. We have seen how to create and start a new thread by implementing Runnable interface, and we have also seen how to provide a implementation for Runnable interface by using Lambda expression, and we have also seen how to create and start a new thread by extending a thread class, and we have also seen which is a prepared way to create a thread. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you found this video tutorial, then consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Whenever we publish new videos, you will get notified. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.